Hi, welcome to my SED 342 Section 2 Midterm Project. So this presentation is about dyslexia. What is it? How many people have it? What are some misconceptions around it? And how do we teach literacy to students with dyslexia? So first we're going to look at a definition of dyslexia. And this is from the International Dyslexia Association. And it says, dyslexia is a specific learning disability that is neurobiological in origin. It is characterized by difficulties with accurate and/or fluent word recognition and by poor spelling and decoding abilities. These difficulties typically result from a deficit in the phonological component of language that is often unexpected in relation to other cognitive abilities and the provision of effective classroom instruction. Secondary consequences may include problems in reading comprehension and reduced reading experience that can impede growth of vocabulary and background knowledge. This is not an all-encompassing definition, but it is a definition that many states use. And this I found interesting. This is the dyslexia iceberg. When we look at that, what we see straight away is above the surface all you see are writing problems and spelling problems and text reading problems. But when you look right down, you see problems reading single words, problems reading nonsense words, and language processing problems. So how many people have dyslexia? It's thought that there are around as many as a fifth of all people in the USA have dyslexia. There are approximately 13 to 14% of children who receive special education. Half of these have learning disabilities. And of those who have learning disabilities, it is thought that around 85% have difficulties with reading and language processing. Who could have dyslexia? Anyone. So here are some myths and misconceptions about dyslexia. Dyslexia causes letters or words to appear backward or out of order. This is one of the most common misconceptions. Some students with dyslexia have problems with phonological processing, and connecting words to sound is especially difficult for them. Misconception number 2 is dyslexia is a problem caused by vision. It's completely unrelated. It's related to language and the processing of language. Dyslexia is a sign of below average intelligence. No. The IQ levels of people with dyslexia is no different to anybody else. It's related only to reading and writing. There's many people with dyslexia who have had great success. Another misconception is dyslexia can be cured. It cannot. It is not a medical condition and cannot and should not be treated as one. It is a processing difficulty that can be helped with instruction and various supports. Another misconception is that children can grow out of dyslexia. They do not. They learn to adapt, and as they do, especially through early diagnosis and intervention. So we know all instruction, in order to be effective, needs to be explicit. There needs to be clear instruction where the teacher explains and models with good examples. It needs to be systematic. It needs to be planned carefully. The prerequisite skills need to be taught before they move on to more advanced areas, and that avoids confusion. So what are some of the ways that we can teach literacy to students with dyslexia? Now, one approach I found is known as structured literacy. So what is structured literacy? It's got to be modeled and clearly explained. And when it's initially presented or it emerges that a student is struggling, it needs to be modeled and clearly explained. It needs to be highly explicit, not just for the foundational skills, but also for things such as syntax, comprehension, and composition. And as with just general teaching, prerequisite skills must be taught before the student advances. Language interactions need to be meaningful. Practice. Need to be many chances to practice. Feedback. Corrective feedback needs to be properly targeted after the student's first responses. Effort. The teachers need to encourage students to put the effort in. Monitor and scaffold. All teacher-led instruction should be monitored and scaffolded. Independent practice should be monitored and facilitated. Assessment. They should be regularly assessed and achieve high levels of performance before advancing. And we can see there how it all kind of pulls in together. So moving on, what are some other ways that we can teach students with dyslexia? Again, good examples. You've got to provide good examples of finished products. It gives them a good framework within which they can produce the stuff themselves. Peer partners. It's a nice informal way in which we can support our students who have dyslexia. A quiet place. This is very important for students, all students, not just those with dyslexia, but it is particularly important for students with dyslexia. Chunking. We're all told, chunk your reading, things like that. And again, this is especially vital with dyslexic students. Large print. Again, need to reinforce that this is not a visual thing. If the letters are bigger, they could well be easier to recognize. We've got to pre-teach the vocabulary. This can be useful for students with dyslexia before any reading assignment they're given. Sentence starters. This will really, really help your dyslexic students. You can use them to get ideas for them to start a paragraph. Assessments need to be regular. They're effective in forming instruction for students with dyslexia, and it gives good long-term results. Colored overlays. This is a really good idea in that it can help relieve stress and it helps with the symptoms of dyslexia. Letter strips. This will be a really good way to help improve students' letter recognition. Grade for content. This is very important, I think, and especially with any kind of disability, and because dyslexia is a disability and we need to be aware of these problems. Parents can help. The families, as we've been learning throughout all our courses, the families and parents are invaluable in helping the child. Audio supports. Things such as audiobooks is going to help them relate to the word and help them to recognize the word. Text to speech. This is another way we can help support it again with their word recognition. Multiple readings. We've got to give them multiple opportunities with which to read various texts, and that's going to help with their comprehension too. A very big part is also to recognize their interests and identities. This is going to foster much more interest in the reading. Multisensory. Give them different ways in which they can engage with the material. And guided questions. This will keep them engaged. Conclusion. These are just some of the ways in which we can support students with dyslexia. There are many, many other ways. We've come a long way in our understanding and our support, but we still have a long way to go. There are many other ways that we can support them. I would encourage you to look at a couple of websites, the International Dyslexia Association and the Dyslexia Resource. Both are invaluable tools for both educators and parents. And finish up here with a quote from Orlando Bloom, the actor, who is a dyslexic, where he says, "Imagine a world where people with dyslexia are educated in a way that supports them. It means anything is possible." Thank you.